the ignorance is coming from. It's coming from fear, and I just want people to start to love
Check
more.
your chat room.
Okay. Very funny, Vince. Hold on. Another romanticizer of slavery, how I'm using. I'm not sure what I'm romanticizing. Is he talking to me or somebody else?
No, I was meaning what Vince said.
Oh, Vince said? Yeah. Yeah, Vince knows everything already. He knows I'm gay and biracial.
Oh, okay.
He's being facetious. Anyway, so that's, what I wanted to say. And I feel like most racism is just stupidity. I was going to talk about one more thing. What was it? Talked about that.
Me keeping my mouth shut?
No, not at all. No, you've been great. Affirmative action. I was going to talk about that real quick. People think that affirmative action is no longer necessary, no longer needed. And I can understand how someone who is not a minority in this country and hasn't experienced racism at all may feel that way. I understand because that hasn't been their experience. They don't understand that what it's like to be a minority in this country. So I feel like being a minority in this country does still put you at a great disadvantage. I don't feel like it. I know that it does. And as I was saying earlier, the racism today isn't like it was when the KKK was prominent and where people would hang you and lynch you and things like that if you were a different race or did something you weren't supposed to do according to them. But today it's more subtle. So if someone is racist, a lot of times they're not going to tell you, they're not going to act like they're racist. They're not going to let you know how they truly feel, because that's the most insidious kind of racism, is the kind where someone pretends to be your friend or pretends to like you or whatever to get something from you or to use you in some way, and yet they really think that you are inferior to them because of your race. That happens a lot more than people probably think. So in a day, even though we have a black president, or a biracial president is what I prefer to say, but I say black because that's what everybody else says. Even though we have a black president, people say, oh, well, we have a black president now, we don't need affirmative action anymore. Are you fucking kidding me? Really? You really think that because we have the first black president that all of society's racial ills are solved or something all of a sudden? No. Those things still exist. The racism is still prominent. There are so many people who can't stand Obama. Obama's been, people have tried to kill him because he's black. Unfortunately, none of those have taken place, thank God. But my point is, racism is still alive and well today. And if someone is going to be able to achieve the same level as success as someone who's been given different opportunities, and this is such a complex topic, it could be like a week show, but I just want to say that someone who actually is black, for example, and poor, living in the projects, for example, this is a stereotype, but it of course exists. So if that's the case, do you really think that person has the same access to education that someone living in an affluent suburb has, a Caucasian person? No, of course they don't. Now, if that kid were able to go to the same school, do you still think they would have the same exact opportunities? Yes, they would have the same opportunities, but do you think that their prognosis, so to speak, would be equal to that Caucasian child? Probably not. Why? Because outside of that school, there's still racism. There's racism within that school. There's racism everywhere. So in order to get somewhere in this country, for a lot of people, like with education, which is how you come up from poverty or come up from certain cultural ills, it's through education. The only way to do that is to have an equal opportunity to participate in it. And a lot of schools would not have diversity, the diversity that schools need, if it weren't for affirmative action in schools or in jobs, etc. We just wouldn't have it. So you absolutely have to have the diversity in order to learn. And that's my last thing I want to say, is that the whole point about racism I want to make is this, is that in order to get around it, in order to solve the problem with racism, as I was saying earlier, is that you have to have diversity, because it's the reason people are usually racist is because they are raised in a bubble of some sort. They're raised around the people like themselves, and that's all they ever see, that's all they're ever exposed to, and so that's all they know. And so when they get out into the real world and they see people unlike themselves, as I said, they're afraid and there's fear involved, blah, 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 and all the stereotypes are being perpetuated that were being perpetuated as a child or in their youth or whatever are continually being reinforced by people in their own circle group or whatever. So when they get in the real world, they are racist. And the only way to prevent racism is to expose oneself to another race, a race that you fear, you don't understand, whatever, because racism at its core is about fear and a lack of understanding and ignorance. That is what racism is at its core. So without having any kind of knowledge of another race, I guess you can expect someone to not be racist. But I think that's the parents' fault. I think that's the way society in many parts of this country want it. I mean, there's white flight, for example. I mean, like in Dallas, for example, people are moving as farther and farther away from the city itself. I mean, there's some beautiful, really affluent areas in the city of Dallas, obviously. But I'm saying, there's in the South Dallas, nobody lives down there because it's mostly low income or whatever. And so everybody moves as far north as they can. And when I say everybody, I mean mostly Caucasian families who want to get away from the minorities, whether they're Hispanic or black or Asian or whatever. They want to get away from the minorities, and they want to have their own little school system with all white children in it, and so that they can feel comfortable. And eventually it's going to be so bad that all the people are moving at Oklahoma. I mean, it's getting so bad that people are moving that direction. And it's not just that way in Dallas. It's that way in every city in the nation. And people do that because of fear. And eventually people are going to have to integrate, and you're going to have to be as one. You can't run forever. So you might as well just turn around, face your fear, turn around, face your fear, and look it in the face and say, hi, I'm afraid of you. And let that other person explain to you why you shouldn't be. Because racism is about ignorance and about fear. And the only way to get around it is to immerse yourself in it with other people who have a different race or whatever. So anyway, I had to get all that in real quick. I'm sorry I talked so fast, but I wanted to say thank you to my guest tonight who called in. Lady Cougar, thank you so much. I appreciate your input as always. Boston, thank you so much. You made some really great points as usual. I appreciate you calling in. I wanted to say, everybody in the chat room, Ans226, thank you for listening. Boston, Desert Rose, thank you for listening. Guest 25833, Gunslinger 1964. I hope that you can learn something from this broadcast, Gunslinger. I hope that you can actually open your mind, and you need to educate yourself on the reality of this world and stop listening to bigotry and other things to guide you, because truthfully, I feel sorry for you if you believe the things you said tonight. Ken Fuller, thank you for listening. I appreciate you listening. Lady Cougar 730, as I said, thank you. Lady Love Song, Make It Talk, ML Betty, thank you. Trust Claire, always thank you. Vincent Bay, hey, I really appreciate you checking out my show tonight. I hope everybody has a great night, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Bye.
I was wanting more. freedom, so you can go ahead and talk all you wanna. I built up a shell and it's hard as armor. It seems like every step I take up, trouble comes along with the breath I take up. But you ain't doing nothing if you don't have a facer. So I welcome you to do what's in your nature. Like a jet airplane, way too high to hear you throwing smoke on my name. I know I'm not the only one who pull up, hate you go and throw your hands up. Go ahead and spread your wings, cause you gotta fly above. Yeah, I fly above, I fly above, I fly above. It's beneath me, it's beneath me, it's beneath me. So I fly above all the haters. I fly above, I fly above, I fly above. It's beneath me, it's beneath me, it's beneath me. Everybody hating cause you fly, then go and throw your hands in the sky. If people jealous cause you live your life, then go and throw your hands in the sky. I can't even worry about you and your insecurity. The only thing that matters is my family and G.O.D. I'm a shooting star, but my feet still on the ground. And when you're flying high, they just wanna shoot you. I'm like a jet airplane, way too high to hear you throwing smoke on my name. I know I'm not the only one who pull up, hate you go and throw your hands up. Go ahead and spread your wings, cause you gotta fly above. I fly above, I fly above, I fly above. It's beneath me, it's beneath me, it's beneath me. So I fly above all the haters. I fly above, I fly above, I fly above. It's beneath me, it's beneath me, it's beneath me. All you haters, you're the wind beneath my wings. You just make me fly